Preparing.
Woo!
I haven't done this. If I did, it was a long time ago.
And sometimes you just never know. Like sometimes, at least with Facebook, it says, and you are, then you.
Okay. Preparing. Oh, there's a lag.
Woo!
Haven't done this. If I did, it was a long time ago.
And sometimes you just never know. Like sometimes, at least with Facebook, it says, and you are, then you.
Okay. Preparing. Oh, there's a lag. Haven't done this. I did it a long time ago.
Sometimes you just never know. Like sometimes,
What?
at least with Facebook, it says, and you are, then you.
Okay.
You may
Preparing.
have, Julie, you may have to turn the volume
Uh,
down
okay.
so that
Okay.
you don't hear the lag.
Okay. Thank you. I think we're live. I don't really know.
I think we are.
Okay, I'm just gonna go with we are. I think it just started playing for myself. So we're going with we're live. And just in case we're not, I'm gonna hit record too. There we go. That worked. So I'm very happy to be on here live with my friend Elaine Williams on International Podcast Day. Yay! So, for those of you that don't know, September 30th is International Podcast Day, and it is really just a day to celebrate the community of podcasting, the impact that podcasting has on all of us, and how this medium of podcasting has grown exponentially over the last few years. So, I thought nothing better than getting on Zoom and live on YouTube with a fellow podcaster to talk all things podcasting. Thank you for being here with me, Elaine.
Well, thank you for having me, Julie. I'm a big fan and I'm so grateful because I love podcasts. They, I'm a lifelong learner and I also love music. Sometimes I'm like, Elaine, you need to listen to some music. You need to lighten up and dance for a minute, honey. But to me, podcasts are such a joy because, let's face it, I'm 57. So much of life, there's repetitive stuff you got to do. Laundry, your car, gas, errands, right? And sometimes it's actually dangerous to be speaking on the phone when and so I love listening to podcasts. I feel uplifted, inspired. I'm always trying to learn about history so I can understand why we are where we are.
Right.
And and I'm busy. I have several businesses and I'm caregiving. And so I don't have as much time to read as I would like. And so I just, ever since podcasts came around, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Right.
And if I feel like I need a lift, I'll listen to a one. If I feel like, ooh, I'm in the mood, I'll noodle on some history stuff. There's just so many great things. And then the podcast community
Mm.
is really what like really sealed the deal for me because I went to Podfest and I thought these people are so cool and down to earth and real. And there were people who were dying and they were like, I just want to give and share my story
Right.
until I go. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And
That
and
that
that's
is the
really who
power
a
of
lot of.
podcasting,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
even though we're doing video right now, really podcasting started as that audio only that and there is a really personal connection when someone chooses to play you on their car stereo or put your voice in their ears and in headphones. And even though, video is blowing up too, it's still that connection. Like you're connecting with the host and a guest, whatever the situation may be, and you really get to know people on this very personal level through podcasting that I don't even think I expected when I first started. And now so many of my guests I call friends, even though we've only ever met virtually. And it's such a crazy way to connect with people all over the world, but also connect with your people. I mean, I feel like I've done that with my pet podcast, and it's going to have its own YouTube channel later today, which I'm very excited about. But also in podcasting, like you mentioned, the community. I mean, that's how you and I met was at Podfest 2024. And now you can't get rid of me. So
And we got to go to Disney World twice. Like, oh,
Yes,
so
that's our bonus part. But it's so funny because when I we went to Podfest again this year in January, I realized really what it is, it's a family reunion. It's all of these people that I have connected with through podcasting, whether it's in communities I'm a part of, like Podfest or other memberships, or it's I've been a guest on their show or they've been a guest on my show, or we've gone to the same networking event. And we live all over the place, sometimes all over the world, but nothing beats meeting people in person, right? There's that
yep.
power of connection when you get to hang out together in person.
Yes, I think of it as belly to belly. Yeah. And another thing, like I got to go to Pod Fest and then I also got to go to Podcast Movement and heard some, brilliant stuff and ran into people. And one of the things they were talking about that, the best way to still become discoverable is short form video. And I always do this because I'm like, some people are going to go to LinkedIn, some people Facebook, some people. So short form video is still like the best way for people to discover you. And a lot of times, once people discover you, they switch back to audio so that they
Mhm.
can listen to you while they're doing their things, right? And it
Right.
makes me think, and it is such an intimate, juicy talk, if you will. And it makes me think of those road trips or pillow
Mm,
talk. Like they say, when does a couple really talk? Pillow talk. Then it's in the night. And
right.
then when have you gone on a road trip with somebody? There's such a bubble of intimacy and an opportunity to go deep and share. And I love going deep. I'm a comedian, but I'm also very deep, and small talk freaks me out.
Right. I hate that kind of stuff too. It's like
I-
so
I'm like, what makes
surface.
your heart sing? What are you yearning for? What did you overcome? Like,
Right.
I've been that person since I was a little kid. I'd be like, "What's your dream? Why aren't you doing it?" And they'd be like, "Okay, get her away from me." But and so to me, that's one reason I love it because it's an opportunity to, learn something and be inspired. And
Yes,
my whole thing is, one, I can't talk today. One conversation can change your life
absolutely.
and or the lives of others. And isn't that why we're here?
Yep.
You know?
And
Like,
it's so funny you were talking about that because I've said it recently in a couple guest interviews or even my own podcast where I'm like, you would have told me 5 years ago I have a podcast, let alone that on these podcasts I've shared some of the most deep personal stories of myself. My pet podcast, I talked about losing my first foster kitten and how he passed away in my hands and how hard that was, and it was healing for me to share the story and kind of let go. And on my own podcast, I've shared some of my really big struggles with my health and things I've gone through my life of losing pieces of myself to my health journey. And I never probably would have ever done that if I hadn't got into podcasting. There's such a power in stepping in front of the mic and it being your platform, and you get to choose what you talk about and how you share it and how you create it and all of that. And also you get to choose what guests you have on your show and what you talk about with them. And there's so much power in that. And I think especially as women, so many of us are owning that power because we've never had it in other places to be able to speak our mind or share our truth or tell that story that we never thought we would, but somebody out there needs to hear it, right?
oh, I love it. Thank you, Julie. Yes. Yes, it's so great. And so, whether I would say, if you're already listening to podcasts, yay. And it's great to explore some new ones. And if there is a yearning to share something or teach something, I'm a huge fan. I mean, call Julie because she's going to help you launch, and she's very affordable. She's not like the $7,000 package people. And my whole thing is like, don't die with that song in your heart.
Right.
One of the top five regrets of people on their deathbed is that they did not follow their heart. They did not live the life that they knew they were meant to. They lived it to please other people.
Yep.
And as a recovering people pleaser, I have a lot of compassion. There's no judgment. But, that's one of my missions is to help heal the world with love and laughter, one joke, one story, one video at a time. And just to help people reclaim that self-expression that we all had when we were little. We were like, "Ah, I want the ice cream."
Oh
We
my
had,
gosh, it's so funny.
right?
I recently shared a photo. I was going through old photos for my mom's birthday and I found one of me in one of my dance outfits and I've got my, I
I
had a
love that
signature
picture of you.
I had a signature move. It was a hip thing. And I just like I posted it and said like at what point do we give that little girl part of ourselves up? Like no, I'm still that girl and I hid it for a long time. My old career, like that's not how you showed up. You had business attire and all of that. But now I can have all this stuff behind me and show up as myself because that's what makes me happy, but also because someone else out there needs to hear it and needs to be reminded. And it's so funny you talked about the deathbed thing because a lot of what comes up for me in podcasting is legacy. Like for so many of us, our podcast isn't just about business or, making money or having clients. It's about leaving a legacy. It's about helping other people leave legacies, right? It's about sharing our story, putting ourselves out there in a way that we really can't do in other ways because social media, they all have their algorithm. You don't know who's gonna listen or see your posts or any of that. But with podcasts, once someone finds it, they know to go back there every day or every week or every month and listen. And there's so much power in that. And I think so many more people need to own that power and really, really step into it. And that's why we had Pitch Fest just a little while ago. I decided since it was International Podcast Day, I would host a live Pitch Fest. And we
And it was
had,
amazing, if I
thank
may say
you.
so. Julie was great.
We had 10 women show up live and pitch themselves as guests. And there was such a variety in what people talk about and their stories, but
I
there
took lots of notes.
took lots of notes. But I think we also saw this string of similarity in everything people were saying, like the stories they're sharing, how they help people get out of their heads, get over overwhelmness, or step into more confidence, and all these things that everybody kind of shared in different perspectives. It was really interesting to kind of see that line kind of weave through everybody as they spoke about what they do and what they talk about as a podcast guest. What do you think, Elaine?
Yeah, I was very inspired. And like I said, I took copious notes and I was like, oh, I want her and her and her on my podcast. And I want to be on their podcast. And, one of the things as a coach, I'm a speaker coach, a speaker, short form video expert, as well as a podcast host and comedian. And so many times I help women tap back into their power. And so many times one of the blocks is, oh, well, everybody knows that.
Hmm.
Or, that's not like profound. Or,
Hmm.
oh, well, Elaine, you have a good story. And I do. I have some great stories. And people need to hear your story
Right.
because nobody does it like you. And just, I'm a middle-aged white lady. So, not everybody's going to be able to relate to me,
Right.
right? And
Yep.
so if you have that, yearning, and then you have the ego or identity going, oh, no, no, that's dangerous. Don't be vulnerable.
Right.
I encourage people like you never know. Your story could be somebody else's lifeline. And I know that because I'm in recovery, and you just never know how sharing something can be
Yep.
the exact thing somebody needed to hear. And,
Right.
I'll just share like I was traveling in Portugal with my partner at the time, and we had had a big kerfuffle. And I was feeling, I hadn't slept. I was very emotional. I was feeling very like, uh, and I'm in recovery. And luckily, I was like, okay, I can't get, we're driving in Portugal, the Douro, but I was like, I can listen to a podcast. And like, I want to cry. And like it really helped me calm down and get grounded and decide to stay and continue the trip. And like there is a podcast that they play about recovery and that's in like all the prisons.
Oh,
And
wow.
even for the people who are in solitary confinement. And like just think about that.
Mhm.
And I'm not condoning any of, crime, but so many people who are in prison,
Right.
they're black and brown, they didn't have money, and or a lot of times they do stuff when they're under the influence. And then unfortunately, for whatever reason, they're in solitary confinement, which I think is inhumane, but I'm not gonna take that battle on. But like to be able to be that life, what do
Right.
you call it? The life
Lifeline.
ring, whatever you call
Life
those
life
things.
raft.
It's a
Life
big word,
raft.
Elaine. Life raft. Like you just
Right.
never know. Like that's so
Yep.
powerful. And those people are saving lives and it's human to
Right.
connect and feel
Yep.
seen and connected and and so I'm I'm clearly passionate. And at some point I'll probably have five podcasts if I know me, but right now I
Oh,
just have the one. But yeah,
yeah.
you just never know. And
You never
our job is
know
to right.
who needs to hear from you, who needs to hear
Yeah.
some little thing you're going to say that's going to resonate. And I know as a woman, there's so many podcasts I listen to for a laugh or for inspiration, for a happy story, but also like hearing what they're going through with menopause or hearing what they're going through with mental health. Those are the ones where I hear someone else say their struggle and how they're getting through. It's like, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not crazy. The world is literally insane right now, and it can be overwhelming to even go on social media. And so I
Yeah.
think podcasts are that life raft or that place where you can go and you feel safe because you get to know the host, you get to know the people talking to you, you get to know the people through their stories. And so if nothing else, this is your signal to whoever's seeing this to keep doing it. If you're already doing it, to put yourself out there as a guest, to do it more, to create the podcast you've been thinking about, because it's never going to be perfect and ready. You have to start. We both learn by doing. We put ourselves out
Yeah.
there and realize this is good, this isn't. I'm going to change that. That's the power of podcasting. You can change tomorrow your topic, your cover, your title. It's all about getting started and
Yep.
figuring it out where you need to be in the world, right? And so, where LA needs to be in the world is helping people with being a speaker, being more confident on camera. We all have our issues with that sometimes. So, Elaine, tell everybody about your podcast.
Oh, well, thank you, Julie. So my podcast is Captivate the Mic. It was my second one. I did another one a few years ago and during COVID called Still Human that's still out there, but we put it on the shelf. But it was funny, great life coach hacking tips. So I wanted to make one that was about the power of speaking, whether you're on camera or speaking in front of live people or even podcast guesting. And I wanted it to be fun and entertaining and also giving tips. So I have had some amazing people
Yes.
to interview on my podcast. And then I also will give little tips every once in a while. It's like, you know what? It's just going to stand on its own. But I want people to walk away listening and like, oh, that was really great. Or you know what? I'm going to go write that down right now. The power of the pause. I
Yep.
forgot. And so it's called Captivate the Mic. Please subscribe, rate, and review because that's how it gets pushed out to other things. I've had some amazing speakers on there, like Peter Samuelson, who is a 27-time Hollywood producer who now just does philanthropy. He has seven, not just, he has seven charities. And when I was listening to
Oh
his
my God.
book in preparation, I kept crying because he's one of the most inspiring human beings I've ever had the privilege of knowing. And so please join us. Please, Sarah. I'm like, oh, I need to get you to come be on my podcast, Julie. I was like, um, so
We'll do
and
that
I just
at
want to
some
say one
point.
thing. It's not about being perfect.
Yep.
My father passed away a few months ago. So I have not been totally consistent. So,
Right.
if you've started a podcast and you want to get back to it, like it's okay. Just get
Life
back in the
happens.
arena.
Yep.
Like it's not, nothing is perfect. And Julie and I are both queens of like imperfect action because,
Yep.
you can sit and try to steer a car if it's in park, or you can get going and then you might have to do a U-turn or a left turn, but it's going to be way easier to steer if you're actually like
Moving.
moving.
Like, why isn't this
So
moving? Oh, I guess I should take the brake off, right? I think, and so many of us, especially women, I think we get in our head, we talk ourselves out of things. Nobody cares. Nobody needs to hear it. And even in podcasting, like I put stuff out and it's like, is anyone listening? Is this resonating? You just don't always know, but you have to keep doing it because there's a reason you're doing it. There's a reason Elaine is doing her podcast and she's connecting with these amazing people because she's a vessel to kind of share that for people. And, my podcast, Podcast Your Story, I started it a year and a half ago, put out 5 episodes and paused it for over a year because I wasn't clear on what my business direction was and what I was doing and what I wanted to share. And that's okay. That's what you get to do. You get to make those decisions. The story of my pet, which I've had for 3.5 years, gets paused all the time because it's my passion project, but it's not directly a part of my business. People still listen. Like it's charting on 8 different countries right now, and I haven't put a new episode out in 2 months. But that's because I've done it and I've kept doing it, and people who enjoy it are coming back, and new people are discovering it. So you just never know. Like, no, I don't have tens of thousands of downloads, but I know people are listening every day, and that makes it worth it, right? So if you've been waiting to get started, whatever it is, speaking, guesting, podcasting, this is your sign from
this
Elaine
is
and
your
I to just
sign. Right.
do it. And if you need a community to support you, come check out my Women's Podcaster Party networking community. We meet every month, free networking events. And I also have a paid membership where I do pitch fests where you get to practice pitching yourself as a guest. You get to come to workshops and live group coaching and
It's
all
an
of these.
amazing, amazing community.
Thank you.
Join us.
And because really what I found my purpose is supporting other women like Elaine and myself to just do it and to learn as you go and to grow and to share your story because somebody needs to hear it. So I think that's the best message to have on
Yep.
International Podcast Day is share your
Yes.
story. Somebody needs to hear it now.
Yep.
Well,
And
thank
yeah,
you,
be
Elaine,
generous.
for being here with me. I really appreciate your support, but also just your energy. You always bring me up when I'm down, and so hopefully somebody else is getting uplifted by us right now.
Okay. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody. Happy International Podcasting Day.
Woo woo.